All right, well, let's get started with how to put some interactivity into your Google Slide presentations. And if you think about Google Slides, I mean, it's good for notes and it's good for kind of this progression order. But we're going to work on a way or a method to create sort of a choose your own adventure type slideshow presentation where students can kind of move around the presentation, clicking on different links, which takes them to different slides throughout the presentation. If you haven't enrolled in the Google Classroom, please do so. And in that classroom, you'll see a post to register for the class in Edu4U to get you some credit. Kind of what we're going to cover in this class. Here's the code down here at the bottom, just in case you missed it. But we're going to look at an example of an interactive slideshow, kind of a choose your own adventure. And then we're going to walk through the process of how to make that work. And then the most important part is step 3 there. And it's just kind of the nature of the design of Google Slides. But there's this thing called unintentional advancement. And we have a trick that will avoid this. And you may not know what that is yet, but once we look at our assignment, the one we're going to build together, I'll bring that to your attention. And then I'm going to show you how to sign it in Google Classroom to keep it interactive. Okay, we don't make it an assignment. We actually just paste the link into the description of materials. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, last chance to join that classroom. And then once this live stream's over, you can click on that Edu4U link and then get your credit. So let's go into the Google Classroom. And I'm in as a student. And so if you would click on that classwork tab at the top. And this first topic under example, go ahead and click where it says rock cycle. And notice there's not real, like you normally in Google Classroom, you would see an attachment in there. But as you can see, I actually pasted the link to this interactive slideshow. And so go ahead and open that up and we're going to look at it together. And so this is about the rock cycle. And so it is a little bit of a choose your own adventure. But what I want you to notice is click in the white space. Oh, there went my backdrop. Wow. Kind of a scary noise. But anyway, I click. The only real active part of this whole slide is the box for cooling. And magma or lava, once lava reaches the surface, it can only cool. And so students would click on cooling, and that would take them to igneous rock. And then from igneous rock, we have a couple choices. And so students can really work through this presentation. And so they could choose weathering and erosion. They could choose heat and pressure or melting. If they choose weather and erosion, then it takes them to sediments, which is broken down pieces of rock. And then from here, they can continue to choose their adventure for their rock. And I mean, if you're familiar with the rock cycle, it is this ever-going cycle. So really, this presentation never ends. They can continue to keep progressing as a rock would through the cycle. So right away, I do want to mention, because you may have already noticed this, that this black bar does show up at the bottom. Okay, there is no way to get rid of that. And yes, you are going to have students that will just come down here and just go through all the slides and cheat or not experience it. But, you know, I mean, let's focus on the kids that would take advantage of this and would really benefit from this process. You know, don't let one or two drag you down and think, oh, this isn't a good idea, because they're going to find this at the bottom and they're just going to scroll through whatever slide they want. But I mean, to get the full experience, you will have students that will work through the slideshow like it's supposed to be. Also, if you use the arrow keys or the space bar, you can cheat as well. And so it's not a perfect system, but it is a way Oh, thought I had some visitors here. It is a way to get away from the traditional presentation where it's slide, next slide, next slide. And so we're going to go through the process of how to do this, and at the same time teach you that little trick for that unintentional advancement. And again, there is no way to get rid of the black bar at the bottom. There is no way to disable using the arrow keys to scroll through or the space bar, and that there's just not a way to do that. And so, you know, if you never bring that up, maybe they won't find out. And if they do, just say, hey, do it like it's supposed to do. So anyway, so we're going to close this one out. And we're still going to be in our classroom under the classwork tab, but this time under assignment, we're going to use the link in there. We're going to make our own. And so rather than you trying to build a presentation or find one, we're all going to work on the same presentation, so we all see the same thing at the same time. So go ahead and open this slideshow up. Maybe that thing will stay this time. All right, so right away, you can see the same example that we had, except nothing is linked on this one. And so what we're going to do is go through the process of linking the proper elements. And we're just really going to learn and then practice that process. And then at the end, I'll show you that trick. Excuse me. That trick for the unintentional advancement. All right, so we're going to start out on slide 1. And when you're making this from scratch, it's really helpful that if you will put text in this top box. Because basically what we're doing is we're going to take this blue box that says cooling, and we're going to link it to the slide for what happens when lava or magma cool. Well, they're going to turn into an igneous rock. So basically we're going to take this blue box and we're going to link it to slide 2. And since I've titled it igneous rock, it's going to be a lot easier to find when we're hyperlinking it. All right, so let's link this first box. So we're going to go to the cooling blue box, and we're just going to click on it so it gets the blue outline. And then we're going to go to our toolbar up here at the top, and we're going to look for the link button, the little chain with the line in it. And we're just going to click on it, and then a box is going to drop down to tell us what we want to link it to. Now, if we were putting a website, we would paste the link to that website here. But right below it, there's a choice that says slides in the presentation. And so we're going to click on that, and then it's going to drop down and show us all the slides. And notice, because I've named them, they say slide 1, slide 2. They give me the number, but then it also gives me the title with it. And so if you'll use that title when you're building it from scratch, it makes it a lot easier to find it. And so this is actually a 2-step process. You click on your slide that you're going to link to, then you have to click the word apply, and then it sticks. All right, so here it is. So we're going to go slide 2, and then we click apply, and now it's linked. And so when students click on this blue button, it will automatically take them to the next one. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. This one has 3 boxes to link. And so if you're not good on science, we're gonna teach you a little about rocks today too. But weathering and erosion, we're gonna link this to the sediments slide. Heat and pressure is gonna go to metamorphic, and then melting is gonna take us back to magma or lava. Okay, so the same steps all apply. So we're gonna do the link button at the top, and then choose slides in the presentation. So we're gonna insert link, slides in the presentation, and weather and erosion is going to be sediments. Now you notice there are 2 sediment slides. Well, that's because sediments can weather and erode and become smaller sediments, and so it could just continually do that. So I'm just going to link it to slide 3 for now, and then do the word apply, and then it sticks. Heat and pressure, let's link that one. So I'm going to click on this, make sure I get the blue lines around it. do the link button in the toolbar, choose slides in the presentation, and this one's going to be linked to the metamorphic slide 6. And then click apply. Now here's what happens sometimes when you choose that slides in the presentation, and it may do it on this melting one, is you can't see the whole list. And so that's where you can use the down arrow key to scroll through the slides. So we're going to link melting back to slide 1. So again, we're going to use our link button in the toolbar, slides in the presentation, and then here it is right here. So now I have to use my arrow key to arrow down, but there's magma or lava right here, and then I click apply. And then we just have to link all of these other ones. So now I'm going to go to slide 3, and we have to do the same process, link these buttons. Now, if you like shortcut keys, Control K is the shortcut for link. So all I have to do is click on this box and then go to my shortcut key, Control and the letter K, and that brings up my link menu. Then I can choose slides and presentation, and weathering and erosion is going to go back to sediments, but I'm going to choose the other one this time. I'm going to choose slide 4 to create this cycle, and then click apply. So I mean, it's pretty easy to link these slides. So compaction and cementation is to a sedimentary rock, so that would be slide 5. I'm going to use the shortcut key, Control K, or you can use this link button up at the top. And then our slides, and I'm going to do sedimentary rock, and then click apply. And then for our last one, melting, of course, it goes back to slide 1, which is magma or lava. Control K. And then here I'm going to have to use my arrow key because I can't see them all. And then slide 1, and then apply. And so we have to keep doing this for each of our slides to create that choose your own adventure. And so we're just going to spend a little bit of time and get some practice just linking these to our slides. And so I'll be walking through it also. So you can be on your slideshow doing this and just listening. And then I'll bring you back when it's time we're going to check our work. Okay, so I'm on slide 4, weather and erosion. We're going to use Control K for link. Slides in the presentation. And then this one's going to circle back to slide 3. Then our purple button is going to go to sedimentary rocks. Slide 5. And then melting takes us back to slide 1. So you didn't know you were going to get a rock cycle lesson today, did you? So far, so good. Remember, it takes 2 steps. Click the slide you want to link it to, and then apply. So let's do our sedimentary rock, weathering and erosion. And you can choose either slide 3 or slide 4. Either one is sediment, so it doesn't matter. Heat and pressure, we're going to link that to metamorphic. And then melting, of course, goes back to slide 1. And here's again, I have to use my down arrow. And depending on the size of your screen or what device you're on, you may have to use that down arrow to find the slide that you're looking for. All right, and then I'm on my last one. So weathering and erosion goes back to sediments. And then we click apply, and then melting goes back to slide 1. All right, so we've got our buttons all linked. I'll wait a few minutes and let you get your buttons linked. But if you are done, go ahead and click present and check it out. See if it works. And I'm gonna warn you, it's not gonna work perfectly yet. But we're gonna fix that. All right, I'm gonna give mine a go. I'm gonna hit present and see how well it works. Oh, I'm gonna start back at slide 1 here because that's where. So we have cooling. Went to igneous rock. That's good. That's good. Let's try the melting button. Goes back. Okay. Cooling. Let's try weather and erosion. Goes back. Now my buttons work, but here's where it kind of doesn't work, because if I click in this white space or if I click in the picture, it just goes to the next slide. So I still haven't created that full interactive choose your own adventure. Okay, so here's the trick now, is we have to go back and we have to link the picture to the actual slide. Okay, so let's make some sense of this. So I'm going to get back out of my presentation and go back to my editor. And you notice this text box right here, we're going to create a link to make it link itself to the slide. So I have the whole box selected, and I'm going to do the link button and my slides in my presentation, but this time I'm going to link it to itself. So I'm going to link, I'm in slide 1, and I'm going to link it to slide 1, and then click apply. I didn't want that. Let's try that again. It's probably because I got my cursor in there, so I got to make sure my cursor's not in there. There it is. So I don't have a cursor blinking. The first time I had this cursor blinking and it put text there. So make sure that cursor's not blinking in your text, and then link it to slide 1. And we know these steps. And so now that text box itself is linked to slide 1. So if they click in that area, it's not going to take them anywhere except for where they already are. We have to do the same thing for the picture as well. So we click on the picture, choose link, and then we have slides in the presentation, and I'm going to have to use my arrow key to go down to slide 1 and then click the word apply. So now my picture is linked to itself. And we have to do that for all of our slides as well. So here's our picture, and I'm going to use Control K. Remember my shortcut, people? Control K. And this one is, I got to make sure I'm on the right slide. I'm on slide 2. Click apply, and then I have to do my text box up here. Make sure there's no cursor blinking, and we're going to link to slide 2 as well. Do slide 3. We're going to go through this and link all these. Do all of our pictures. Good. And while you're going through and linking those, and you can just listen right now as you're linking, but remember that I said that black bar at the bottom when you go to presentation mode won't go away. The higher you can put the text and the pictures on the slide, then that's less chance of that black bar showing up at the bottom, because that typically shows up when your mouse reaches a certain part of the slide or the presentation, then it wants to appear. So the higher you can put the pictures and text on that slide, then it may not always show up. Let's make sure I got all these linked. Yep. This one's slide 4. So here I'm really having to use my arrow key to slide down there, especially as a picture. So this picture right here, I may want to bring up. I may want to shrink the size of that picture and get him a little bit higher. Or I could even crop it. All right, so just about done here. Now we still haven't brought up the unintentional advancement tip yet. That's coming. Slide 5. In our picture again, I'm going to shrink the size of that picture so it's not so big. And this was slide 5. And last one. So hopefully you're getting good practice with linking to other slides in your presentation. And remember, I'd said it's real handy if you'll use that title put some text in that title so it's easy to find when you do your slides, so you're not just looking for the number. All right, once you got all that done, we're going to go to present mode. Good. Big thanks to John Woodward for helping us out in the comments today. All right, so let's go to present mode. Oh, I'm gonna go back to my first slide here, go to present mode. And let's check it out. So the blue box works. What if I click in the text? Notice if I click where it says igneous rock, it doesn't go to the next slide. If I click the picture, it doesn't go to the next slide. But here's where that unintentional advancement comes in, because if I'm up in this white space up here, oh no, I went to the next one, or this white space down below this picture, it's still going. So now we got to go back and we got to fix that unintentional advancement, this blank space within our slide. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the first slide. Okay, so even if you're still working on your links, if you'll take a break and watch this process, and then we'll go back and we'll give you time to work on it, and I'll let you work. I mean, we'll work all this out, but watch this trick to fix the unintentional advancement. All right, so step one is we're going to go to the shape box, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a rectangle shape covering our entire slide. Yeah, my son made a water balloon. What? You're on the video. You want to say hi? No. Okay, he didn't want to say hi. Here's the water balloon. There he is. Don't know. I guess sister's going to get a present. Anyway, so we're going to go to shapes, pick shapes, and we're going to pick this rectangle. And I'm going to start outside of the slide, and I'm going to put a box around the entire slide, and it's going to cover it up at first. Okay, but Google Slides works in what's called layers, and so what we're going to do is move this to the back, so all my text and buttons and pictures appear in front of it. But before I do that, I'm going to link this box to the slide I'm working on. So with this box still selected, I'm going to go to my link button, and now it's down here, and this is really where you have to use your arrow keys on your keyboard to find that slide. So we're going to slides and presentation, and we're going to choose slide 1 because that's the one we're working on. And then we're going to click apply. And so now we've linked this entire box to slide 1. Okay. But now we have to move it to the back so we can see our boxes and our text and our images. That one is under arrange. So you click on arrange and then choose order. And we're going to choose the one that says send to back. And I've left it gray so we can still see it. If you want to change it to white, that's fine. But I'm leaving mine gray so you can actually see the boxes still there. So again, that's arrange, order, send to back. Now I'm going to test it. So I'm going to go to present mode. And so if I click in this gray area, it doesn't advance. Everywhere I click does not advance. Actually, it does advance. It's linking it to itself. So it's kind of creating this real quick loop that you can't see. The only active place on this slide that will allow me to go somewhere else is that blue button. So now I have to do that to every one of my slides so I get rid of that unintentional advancement. All right, so let's try this process again. So it's the square all the way around the slide. Then I link that square to the slide I'm working on, and then I send it to the back. Okay, so we're going to go to shape, shape, square. Draw a square around the whole slide. Link it to itself. And this one's slide 2. Then we click apply, and now we have to send it to the back. So that's arrange, order, send to back. This one's fixed, and I'm leaving it gray intentionally. And we have to do this for each slide, so it'll create that choose your own adventure type slideshow. So we have our square, our shape, put our box around it, go to link. This one is slide 3. Click apply, and now we send it to the back. Arrange, order, send to back. And that's how we create our choose your own adventure interactive slideshow. And this was just one example. I mean, the teachers in Temple ISD, y'all are way more creative than I could be. And I know you'll come up with some great ideas for using this technique as far as linking slides to other slides in the presentation, and then using this trick to avoid the unintentional advancement. So basically, you link the slide to itself. And so again, we're just going to go through, I mean, this is the most important part of doing that choose your own adventure or the interactive slideshow. So we have our box, we link it. This one is slide 4. And then we go to arrange and order, and then send it to the back. All right, I'm going to do my last 2 slides here and give you some time to work on your presentation. And when you're finished, I would like for you to turn it in. I just kind of want to, I'm curious, I want to see your work. I'm going to check the stream also for any questions or comments. I know John Woodward is helping us out with questions and comments, so I want to thank him for his time and helping to manage those questions that might be coming in. This one is slide 5.
Daddy, do you know Madison is?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. I'm sorry. I have not seen her. Good. I'm sure some of you are getting to the point where you're about to wrap it up. I'm going to check mine to make sure. And so I'm going to go to present mode. I should have started at slide 1. But just make sure I'm going to click on all the blank space, click the pictures, and make sure it doesn't go to the next slide. And the only thing that should work should be the button itself. And of course, there's that black bar that shows up. And again, there is no way to get rid of that black bar at the bottom, and there is no way to disable using spacebar to go to the next slide or using the arrow keys. But again, you know, the bulk of your students will go through this slideshow or the one that you create like it's supposed to, and choose their own path or choose their own adventure, or create that interactivity within a slideshow instead of just going in order. All right, so the last thing I'm going to leave you with is, now how do we take this slideshow that we've presented as a teacher and put it in to Google Classroom? Okay, so you may want to take notes on this part or write this part down. It's a cool little trick. So the first thing you want to do is copy your link. Well, first thing actually you want to do is be on slide 1. You want to be on slide 1. And then this link at the top, we want to copy this whole link at the top. And I'm going to have to switch back to my teacher side. So here's a view from a teacher side. And so those that are familiar with Classroom, if we have some high school teachers that are using Schoology, I'm sure there's a way that you paste links into Schoology. So don't tune me out now just because I said Classroom, but when we paste the link, then take your notes or write it down about how to make it show up in present mode where they don't see all the thumbnails. But for Classroom, my elementary and middle school folks that use Classroom, of course, you'll go to Create. But instead of choosing an assignment, just choose Materials. Just pick Material here from that list. And then you can give it your topic and give it your title. And then we're just going to paste that link in the description. But we're not done yet. Don't click, not done yet. Okay, high school folks, here's where, tune in right here, high school folks. So notice my link, it's got all this special code, but then it says edit number slide. And let me zoom this in. See how big I can get it. So we have our link, but then it says edit and all this stuff at the end. We're gonna get rid of all of this stuff at the end and change it to the word present. And that's all you have to put in. And then it will open for the students in that same mode that you saw at the beginning, where you could still see bookmarks and URL, but you couldn't see the thumbnails for each of the slides. And so actually, once you have that done, I mean, you could test it out for yourself. You could copy this link and paste it in here. So even if you're using Schoology, you can use this trick by using the word present. And this is what it will look like for the students when they click on that link. So none of the thumbnails show up, none of the editing tools will show up. It looks like a presentation mode in a web browser is what it is. Okay, and again, that trick right there, let's see if I can undo. There it is. So we have, once we paste our link, we find all that code, and then we find the slash, and after the slash is the word edit and some other code about slide. I don't know what all that is, but we're just going to delete all that information or do backspace and then type in the word present. And then it'll open your slideshow in that presenter view. And then if you're used to Classroom or Schoology, I'm sure you would click post or submit. I mean, however, whatever your LMS that you're using looks like. In this case, Classroom will just be post. And then here's our rock cycle. And notice the link at the very end. It has that word present. Sorry, I'm zooming in. Has that word present, and it will open up in that presenter mode. So cool trick for any Google slide presentation you might have, especially ones that are interactive like this. All right, so that's all for today. So just a short review on what we did. We did look at an example. I showed you how to link components, text, or whatever it might be to other slides in the presentation. Excuse me. And then number 3, we definitely covered how to avoid that unintentional advancement when students click in that empty space, and it'll take them to the next slide. And those steps again are to do a square, a rectangle around your whole slide, link it to itself, and then move it to the back. And then we talked about how to assign it in Google Classroom. We really don't assign it. You just put it in as materials for students to participate and navigate with. And I mean, you could somewhere in one of the slides put a link to a Google Forms quiz. to get some kind of feedback from the students or see if they actually learned through that process. And that's simply using hyperlink and then pasting the URL of your Google form into that link, into a picture or some text. Same type process. But this was more focusing on linking to slides that are already in your presentation. And then number 3, of course, try to avoid that unintentional advancement. So that was the most important piece of this whole live stream right there. Hope you found this worthwhile. We are going to call it a day. I'm going to zip back over. Again, thanks to John Woodward for managing any questions or comments for us. If you finish your Rock Cycle 1, if you would turn it in, that would be great. If you haven't applied or signed up for Eduphoria credit, please do so. Or signed up for the course so we can get you some credit, that would be great. So let's see if there's any last minute questions we can take care of. Uh-oh, we got some that aren't looking like mine. Okay. We'll have to take care of these questions as it gets. This stream is being recorded, so I will paste the recording into the Google Classroom here, and you can come back and visit it and work through on, you can use pause and rewind and work on your own pace. So have a great afternoon, and let us know how we can help you out. Bye-bye.